Welcome to Dan Talks. Okay, enough with that. I just wanted to make it sound like I was on the radio or something. Welcome to the first episode of Dan Talks. This is going to be more like a podcast style of segment for this channel. And, so I'm just going to talk about stuff. And, so obviously a lot of this stuff is going to be related to my channel. I'm going to try to be related. Of course, I'm not going to be talking about ice cream, how annoying seagulls can be, how hard it is to find a shirt with a cool logo on it without them putting scratch designs looking like it is very uniquely and artistically scratched off when you want the full nice logo. Is Rey related to Luke Skywalker? How attractive girls look in sundresses? If Donald Trump wins, how many new neighbors I'm gonna have? Overly edited looking eyebrows? Why there's no built-in port for Ethernet cables on the Wii U? How great I am? Yeah, so none of that stuff that is totally off related, you know what I mean? So throughout this audio segment podcast type of thing, I'm going to be covering different subjects that I'm going to talk about. First off, I'd like to apologize for some of the nonsense I do in some of my harmony tutorials. I'm sure that annoys some people. It's just a way to entertain myself when I'm doing these things. I don't know why I do it. Hey, it annoys me sometimes too, man. I just do it. Sorry, man. I just do it. I haven't really gotten any complaints, but I'm sure some people are like, stop. I'll try to tone it down a little, my friends. Again, it's just my way to entertain myself, I guess. I don't know. I just started doing that stuff. Anyway, let's actually jump into a topic that is worth a crap. If you are subscribed to me, you should know that I enjoy Backstreet Boys. Bow, 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 bow. Okay, so yeah, I grew up on that band. One of the first songs that was my favorite songs, one of my first favorite songs, was I Want It That Way. 5 years old, heard it on the bus when I was in kindergarten. And yeah, so that got me into Backstreet Boys pretty early on. And one of the members is Brian. If you're a Backstreet Boy fan, you'll especially know that Brian's voice has been very nice to him in recent days. So I'm going to talk about it a little bit as my first topic. It's a topic that a lot of Backstreet Boys fans like to talk about. Now, let's bring up some points that some people have had. Clearly, Brian has, I believe it's called vocal shoot. I don't remember what it's called. I'm sorry. Is it vocal dysphonia? Is that the word? I'm sorry, guys. Forgive me. I don't remember the word. But he's got a case of his vocals kind of shake and can't hold a steady note, which really sucks because he's the tenor vocalist and he needs those steady notes. He also has a lot of solos, and according to the Backstreet Boys documentary, Nick called him the MJ of the group. Just Brian had such a unique, angelic voice, which was probably pretty signature to their sound, which is kind of sad that this really happened to him. And how freaking awkward was that to see Nick and Brian fight like that? So awkward. So awkward. I'm like, please, just stop. Stop, man. Cool down. It's fine. You're homies, right? You're homies. It really breaks my heart to see Brian trying his best when they get the wonderful opportunity to perform at big shows that they still get to do because they're still a group, that they were actually accepted to do it. You know what I mean? Like the whole Miss America thing. I think they did, I can't remember the other shows that they've been doing recently, but those shows where they can show the crowd that they still have it. But Brian's been having problems recently, and it's really sad, you know? But good for him to having the heart to attempt to continue and try to get better on the way. Now, a lot of people put the point out to say that maybe Brian should take a long-deserved break from singing, try to get his vocal cords to rest, and try to recuperate. I see that. I don't know how his condition works. Maybe they've told him that doesn't do anything if he were to take a break. Either that, or he doesn't want to be left out when the boys are trying to do stuff, which I would totally get. You know, that would really suck. It would be understandable for him to take a break, but I don't know if he'd have the heart to tell the guys to stop for him. You know what I mean? He can't really do that. Uh, yeah, and like Backstreet Boys without Brian kind of sucks, you know. Um, and he's been going on this long with that voice and continuing on, hitting high notes and stuff. Sometimes I feel like is his voice stuck because he just blew it out type of thing. Like it's totally gone now because he continued singing even when it started. You know, you can hear it starting at like as early as I say 2009. Most people would say like 2011, 2010. By 2010, you can hear that the notes are a little bit hard for him to keep steady, but was able like reasonably ish. 2009, you can hear him singing the straight through my heart. They were doing that type of thing, and his vocals came out okay, but I feel like you can kind of tell that it's not as strong as it was, but was still good enough to sing. Yeah. So those are points that people are making. And another point people are making is that we have to face the fact that they have to give Brian just less solos, sing where he can. Which probably kind of blows for him because he was a major solo guy. If you go through the CDs, you know, you hear him a lot. And probably like the first album, you hear him the most. If I'm mistaken, please let me know. Maybe I'm mistaken. But yeah, it hurts to hear about that stuff, you know? And especially when you grew up with a band like that and then you have the gift that they can still go on, you know? They can still go on because they haven't broken up and they want to continue. We have that gift that their music doesn't have to go away. You can always hear that harmony sound that you're used to and love, and it'll just continue. Now, here's what I want to say, is that even though Brian has had shakiness in his voice, he's not a useless vocalist. Clearly, in recent days, they've put out songs where Brian does a lot of really high notes. He was always a great belter. He had a good range. And when he hits those high notes, they never sound so bad. It seems like at that pitch, he can hold it together. Now, also, certain lower pitches I find he can sing pretty good too. So you can find your ways around it, I say. Give him a good long solo at a pitch where he can sound good. Because it's not shaky throughout everything. It's more like tenor range, which is his vocal slot. So maybe try giving him like a solo where it's lower. Here, let's check out some of these solo things throughout this podcast-esque thing, if I can call that a podcast. I'm going to show you some musical examples, but I'm going to put up the pitch to avoid all this strikes and stuff. I know it sucks, but let's just hear it out. So, firstly, I'll show you some examples of what I mean. There's pitches that Brian can hit that he can sound pretty good. And also, let's keep in mind, his falsetto is also still pretty good.
Crazy, but I'll do anything to set things right. 'Cause your love's so amazing. Baby, you're the best in my life. If you were my lover, a constant friend to me, then tell me why would you turn away from my love? If you're always a reason, then they won't turn away from me. a chance we should find that it can be for you and I. And girl, I'll try. My darling, tell me what to do to make I need to know. So darling, tell me what to do to make things right, my darling.
Okay, so, like I said, you can hear that he can sing some notes pretty well. So, he's not useless at all. We can still enjoy his voice. Just, his tenor ranges might not be the best for him right now. I don't want to give up hope on him, and he shouldn't give up hope either. I've heard cases of this happening to people. It's quite sad, but I pray for the guy. I believe that he could recover. He's been saying that he's been getting better slowly, and they say like half of it is mental. So I hope he gets over this. I pray he gets over this. God bless you, Brian. All the best to you. Next topic is kind of random. I saw this in a video just randomly browsing where Nick and Joey talked about Joey featuring on an album. Now I want to know what you guys think. I think a lot of people simply just don't want to hear somebody else who isn't Backstreet Boys on the album. Understandable. I totally get it. But at this point in time, I wouldn't mind hearing him on a track. Not all of them, but a track, because it is a Backstreet Boys album. And obviously he'd be a guy featuring, not going to be in the whole album. Why not, man? He's good friends with the boys, it seems. And he was a vocalist in their heyday. So it's kind of like a throwback. I personally wouldn't care. Joey's my favorite NSYNC member because, like I always say, he has the hardest job in NSYNC. He's the one when they want to go big and go huge on an arrangement. He's usually the guy looking for those weird notes, usually trying to find them in the baritone area because that's his range. But yeah, he did a lot of the funky harmonies that probably took a long time to learn to break it down and be able to perform. So there's that. So hey man, why not? I say why not. But would you guys care? Let me know. Okay, next topic. Now I'm going to share this idea that I've shared in some other videos too. I think a great way that NSYNC could give back to the NSYNC fans, because without NSYNC, a lot of them wouldn't be where they are today. They wouldn't be known, that's for sure. And I think there's a huge crowd of people who loved that group. Like, are you kidding me? They broke records, so come on now. I say a great way to give back to the fans without having to do too much, because clearly most of you guys don't want to reform and do the whole thing. Justin Timberlake's on top of the world, and he probably feels like he's just past that whole boy band group thing. I think the boys should get back together once in a while, maybe once a year, maybe once every 2 years, and release like a tiny EP. So like 2 songs. Make 2 songs together. If any of you are free to do anything, write a little piece. Come on, you guys can write music. Write a little piece it together, just 2 songs. Shouldn't take crazy long. And just put it out on the internet. Maybe put it out on iTunes if you want to get paid for it. One way or another, just put it out. And you don't really need to advertise it. Personally, you don't have to go on planes and travel here and there. Just advertise it via internet. It's a great way to do it, and you don't have to travel around everywhere. And the NSYNC fans would probably really appreciate it. I would. And just to hear those graceful 5-part harmonies again from the group of NSYNC, I think that'd be really great if they just did that, just to give back. You don't have to regroup officially. Just put out some stuff. Like for free time's sake. Maybe for fun. You guys all still love singing, I assume. Why not do it? I say that'd be a great way to give back, and you know, just give us some good stuff, content. And you guys had it great. You guys were a great group. The harmonies were on point, and you guys hit it big. So yeah, it'd be a cool way to give back to the fans. Next topic is gonna be super super random. I'm gonna talk about Britney Spears real quick. Now, I don't talk about Britney Spears on here because she's not a harmony group of sorts. And Britney Spears, eh? A young Britney Spears. Oh. Anyway, a lot of people I've been seeing. Well, first off, let me say, I like to look back on some older music. Personally, I'm not that big a fan of newer music. There's a couple bands here and there that I enjoy of today, or a couple of songs here and there I enjoy of today. But I usually don't listen to bands within the past 10 years. Usually I listen to music from like the 50s to early 2000s around. Not too many 50s songs, but definitely you can get into 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, maybe even mid 2000s. But recent days, not so much into a lot of the music that has come out, and especially the musical content and whatever. It just doesn't sound, a lot of it doesn't sound so good to me. I'm sure there is some bands out there that I just don't know of. But anyway, so sometimes I like to look back, and I was watching some Britney Spears videos, and so many people have hate on Britney Spears, saying she can't really sing or nothing. Now, I just want to say, I'm going to defend her a little bit, right? Now, I don't think she's the greatest singer ever, okay? Now that, it's got to be between Celine Dion, Kelly Clarkson, Mariah Carey, or Whitney Houston. Those ladies got good ranges, they got great vocal control. Anyway, off topic. I don't think she's the greatest singer in the world, but she can sing. I mean, come on, guys. If you can go back and see performances of her when she was young, even before she hit it big. Here, let me show some clips if I can. Yeah, so you see, I mean, she can hold a note. A lot of people are like, "Oh, she's heavily auto-tuned." I don't doubt that maybe she is auto-tuned, but I think this whole auto-tune craze thing, pointing the finger, although I do believe that maybe there is an overusage of auto-tune, um, people seem to believe that you can just totally suck and become a singer. So not true. If you suck so bad, you can easily tell that every part is edited. Because if you auto-tune too much, every syllable will sound like it's being cut or disrupted or interrupted. You know what I mean?
Says the list of artists who don't use autotune is probably smaller now than those who do.
For pop music, this is the gadget to use, and it's a little bit overused these days, especially in pop music, and mainly with singers that look better than they sing.
Artists like Britney Spears reportedly use autotune to make their voices sound perfect. Autotune knows perfect pitch, and when it hears something slightly off, and you can see that vibrating line here, it will correct it. It can correct a little or a lot, which makes a voice sound almost electronic.
Oh my gosh.
Like that.
If you listen to it, if you listen to heavily autotuned things where they do it on purpose, you would almost sound like that if you suck so bad. So it makes no sense for someone to suck that bad. Again, I'm not saying Britney Spears is the greatest singer in the world, but I mean, she can hold a note. That's why she is a singer. She does sing live here and there. She is very guilty of lip syncing, but you know, what are you gonna do? But yeah, just defending her a bit. I don't think she's just can't sing at all. That doesn't really make any sense. Think about it. So yeah. Maybe she got some little auto-tune action going on, but probably not overly done like you probably think, because just the vocals would sound just way too fake. And I know maybe some people will be like, "Well, they do." It would sound way too fake, man. It just would. So again, just look up some like older things where she's just singing on her own. So again, you do have to win over, you know, musical scouts and things to win them over. So if you just can't sing at all, then what are you even doing trying? And if you're trying and your dream is to be a singer, then practice, 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 practice. That's what I say. Okay, in the name of harmonies and Britney Spears, let me show you something real quick that might be of interest to you. Probably why I enjoy that song is because it's got all of them harmonies in there, and I found that older Britney Spears stuff has like a lot of backing vocals and a lot of backing harmonies, and oftentimes, usually it's not her singing by herself, and there's always a guy. There's this guy, like I guess they have this reserved guy to be in her songs. All her older songs have a guy in it. Hearing those low notes with the guy voice, he's probably in Oops, I Did It Again, and he's definitely in the Hit Me Baby One More Time. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. He's in it. He's in it. But I guess newer stuff, she don't do that anymore. I personally enjoy the older Britney Spears, more, I guess, sort of more innocent Britney Spears. After a while, she kind of just pushed the sexuality thing, and then her songs became more, I don't know, they just kind of changed for me. Lost that, I guess, late 90s, early 2000s pop feel that I just seem to be stuck in or something. I wouldn't say I'm stuck in it, by the way. I just enjoy it. I do enjoy some bands that are out today, but not many. Anyway, yeah, I enjoy older Britney Spears better. Let's move on. And anyway, I don't just study vocals to vocal groups like Boyz II Men, NSYNC, 98 Degrees, those kinds of people. Sometimes if there's a lot of harmonies in a song, I like to listen out for them and see what it's like. Again, I like to look up old songs just for the sake of it, just so what was going on then. And I came across this song I'll just show it to you real quick with the vocals app on. I want to learn how to make the vocals sound so smooth and soothing sounding like that. That's just an interesting case of where they have a vocal set and then a lead over top kind of making up some things and kind of just fitting in with it. Anyway, thought the song sounded nice and looked into it. Anyway, moving on like I was trying to do. Okay, now this is going to be an interesting part. This is called Harmony Appreciation Time. So I'm going to choose a harmony or a little harmony piece that I very, very much enjoy and appreciate for a specific reason. Probably vocals that sound out of the box. And maybe when I run out of these, I'll just find harmonies that just sound really fat somehow. So yeah, let's get started. I'm going to show you guys harmony pieces that I enjoy. So I'll just choose one for each time I do a Dan Talks. So today, I'm gonna show you one, and here we go. You gave me your love, lifted me up. Now I'm looking at forever when I never thought I'd ever see that far. You're with my soul wherever I go. Now I know right from the start your love was written on my heart. Now, some of you might know this song. I actually did a tutorial on this way back. I was too eager. I'm so sure that there's some things wrong with it. So sure. I'm probably going to redo it one day. I love the song so much, I just wanted to show you guys how the harmony arrangement kind of went. Probably shouldn't have rushed it too much. Most of it is probably good, though. Most of it. I don't usually put out something that is just totally off to lunch or whatever. Okay, so there's a specific part in this song that I like to show you. I'll show you the actual track, probably vocal zapped and higher pitched. Let's listen. There's a part that I think is cool. Ooh, I love that song. I have a funny story to that song where it would play on the radio back in the early 2000s, and my brother and I ended up losing touch with the song, and then we ended up finding it years and years later, and it sounded just as good as we remembered it. Now, I really love this song. One of the most weirdest arrangements ever. Like, it confuses me still. I can understand what's happening, but I don't know how it all adds up. I'm almost convinced that they had like 2 or 3 melody singers. They're like, go ahead, sing the melody. Everyone else, just try to throw in anything. And then they did. And then try to make some sort of harmonies to it with interesting backing vocals. So you got pieces where like, it's like, you gave me your love. And someone goes, you. And he just stays doing that. You gave me your love, you. Then he ends up maybe switching into a harmony. Gave me your love. And he just continues on this weird straightness. Lifted me up forever. And like continues. Someone's just having this like long-lasting voices throughout the song. It's confusing. And is it the same guy? I don't know. So anyway, now those parts that I just had you listen to, where it's repeating and repeating, it's what I like to call one of those perfect 4 parts. And I'll show you what is happening, and then I'll let you listen to it again with a new perspective. From the start. Okay, so why this part is so interesting to me, and I appreciate it, is that, okay, so you have your 3-part. From the start, and then you have from the, so from the start, from the start, from the start, and then you have your under harmony. No, right, from the, so he stays straight. From the start. Again, I'll probably just remake a tutorial of this, and I'll really explain this again, and you can probably just have the pleasure of listening to it over again, but this is my section of this podcast where I take time to appreciate a harmony. From the start, from the start, from the start, from the start, from the start. So that piece there, hopefully not to confuse you, makes it perfect for separate vocal piece. Because there's the high-low type of thing. Not really, but it goes from the makes a completely different sound. So from the, while the one under him goes from the, and the one on top of that is the, no, right from the, yeah, no, right from the start, the, I'll hum it out for you guys. No, right from the. Yeah, I still have to research about the bass harmonies. I don't know if I got it 100%. But, okay, so why I appreciate the vocals in that little section. They had that piece where they chose to do something fancy. From the start. And that piece that made the extra part, like the 4-piece, that made it a 4-piece. From the... It kind of holds it. It's like, from the start... So it makes this weird, like, backing vocal almost. But I consider it a piece of the harmony set because it harmonizes with it. And it wasn't exposed as something that is so much of an overlay vocal. But yeah, okay, so... And that's that. And that is the harmony piece that I have appreciated for this podcast today. Now let's move on to the next segment. Okay, now what I would like to talk about is just noticing the differences in Backstreet Boys' voices today. They don't sound exactly like they did back in the day. They may sound similar, but they don't totally sound the same. Let's talk about it. Okay, now let's talk about Nick. Nick Carter, when he started in Backstreet Boys, he was 14 years old. His voice hadn't dropped yet. So when they were recording the album, his voice was going through a lot of changes. Like I've mentioned in some videos, if you listen to Let's Have a Party, you can hear young Nick Carter's voice going through mad puberty, trying not to squeak, but probably squeaking here and there. And then you have Quit Playing Games, which was recorded quite a bit later, and his voice sounds a lot more mature. So you get to hear how his voice changes here and there. Within the first album, that wasn't released everywhere, because they weren't hot everywhere back then. But anyway, yeah, you can hear how his voice changes. And then, between the times of Black and Blue and Millennium there, he would use this like vocal technique where he would like kind of yodel his voice a lot more. Let's see if I can find examples.
I never thought that I would lose my mind. Never thought that I'd be left behind. Girl, if only I knew what I've done.
Hear those yodel type of notes that he's doing? Although it may sound like an artistic way of singing, he did that a lot back then. And sometimes too much for my liking. He doesn't do that now. Let's take a listen to some of his more modern, mature voices.
You find the truth in a child's eyes when the only limit is the sky. Living proof, I see myself in you. Let's believe that we'll find out how it feels with something so right. Don't you think it's time to let your guard down? Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? You got to call me. I look down, and my shirt is turning red, I'm spinning round. Felt her lips on my neck and her voice in my ear, like I missed you, want you tonight.
So in that Straight Through My Heart one, you could hear that he does it a little bit. So obviously he does it now and then, but I feel like he thinks like it he just can't pull off that sound as he could back then, especially now that their sound is more mature and he sounds more mature. So I kind of prefer that he doesn't do those yodels as much. Just look at some of his performance. Sometimes he would do it a lot. Like he's like, I don't know what he does to make you cry.
I don't know what he does to make you cry, but I'll be there to make you smile. I don't have a fancy car to get to you. I'd walk 1,000 miles. Oh yeah, I don't have.
And it actually takes like a certain vocal type to be able to do it all the time like that. Again, he doesn't do it all the time, but like do it sufficiently with that without it sounding too much. So like good for him, but you know, I prefer the smoother sound without doing it so much. I prefer the I don't know what he does to make you cry instead of I know what he does. You know what I mean? Look out, some performances he does that type of thing. So that's a change in what he does today. He does a lot less of that. I would have liked to put more songs as examples, but they're off the CD, and it doesn't really support the format it's on Mixcraft here. I'd have to figure out some things. But there's some examples. Okay, now let's move to AJ. He smokes, we all know. If I were him, I'd definitely stop. Being a singer and smoking, not a good mix. Smoking's not very good for your health either way, but especially for a singer when you need your throat and pipes, it'd be a good idea to stop. His voice definitely got more of like a huskier tone. Back in the day, he used to be able to put on a pretty smooth vocal. He still can, but it's not as smooth as it used to sound. Like, listen to him singing I Want It That Way and stuff in recent days. Here, I'll put some clips.
Am I your fire? Am I your fire? Your one girl. Yes, I know it's too late. Why ain't nothing but a heart? Tell me why. Ain't nothing but a heart. Tell me why.
Okay, let me put some vocal tracks here, or songs examples where his voice slowly sounds a little more like huskier and heavier almost, where before he could pull off a smoother sound, and oftentimes I would mistake him for Brian when they're singing smoother tones. So let's hear what I'm talking about.
Yes, I'm trying to break through the walls that I built up, but they don't compare to you. One chance and I swear I never let you go. All the beats I can't replace. You left a mark that won't erase. Oh, no one else can teach me how to love again.
his voice just has this more like I don't know how to describe it really. It has more like this maybe because to smoking or just aging. That song confuses me. There's harmonies in that song, but they put it down so bad. Here, I'll put Vocals app on it. You can hear it better. Why do you have harmonies in a song if you're just going to put it down to a point where you basically don't hear them? Maybe you can make it, maybe you're wanting it to sound more ambient sounding with the lead being the main focus, but you can do that with having the harmonies more apparent. At first listen, you're like, oh, this song doesn't have no harmony, but it does. If you listen to them sing live, that's probably what the arrangement actually is. Now, hopefully you understand me how his vocal just sounds heavier now and kind of like huskier. Though AJ always had this very distinct voice when he would sing strong chest voices. Let's find some songs where he sounds different from previous years. Let's go in.
You're fire, you're one desire. Yes, I know it's too late, but I want it that way. Tell me why ain't nothing but a thought. Tell me no matter the distance, I want you to know that deep down inside of me, you are my.
I had a hard time not listening to the whole song. I freaking love that song. Sorry about the octave changes, just trying to avoid things as good as possibly can. Okay, I feel like this piece right here shows, his voice has gone to a little bit of a different point here. Let's listen.
I climb the walls, yeah. I can see the edge, but I can't take the fall. No, I memorize the numbers, so why can't I make the call? Maybe 'cause I know you'll always be with me in the possibility. Climb the walls, yeah.
Yeah, so he sounds a little different now. Those two pieces there are 10 years apart. Okay, next, Howie, he doesn't sound too different. His voice sounds a little more mature, but, he doesn't sound crazy different. Brian obviously has his vocal difficulties. Kevin just sounds older. It just sounds older. I'm not gonna find examples for those, because this video is already really long. I would like to, but just listen out for it next time if you're really interested. Just to hear. I mean, as they grow older, they're gonna start sounding just slightly different. So yeah. Nick obviously sounds like a mature man now. He doesn't sound like a kid. And yeah, just the voices sound a little different. I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. Okay, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to make some more of these just for fun. And if you guys like to listen to it, thanks. And comment if you'd like. If you have any ideas or any thoughts, go ahead. Alright, so that's about it. Peace and love and ice cream cake. God bless. Till next time.